Hi friends, I'm Kaustubh and today I'm going to explain the first lesson from the Rich Dad and Poor Dad book. So welcome, and today let's together discuss the chapter. So that first, Robert, who was 9, visited his dad, who was actually a poor dad, and Robert called him a poor dad. And if you have read the book, you will know why he calls his dad the poor dad. And also that he was complaining that Jimmy, who was actually his friend, had not taken him to the beach house to which they went and on their new Cadillac, and that what makes Robert hurt, and he wants to know how to get rich. So let's take a story further and let's see how it happens. So the poor dad said, "Son, why do you want to be rich?" And then Robert says that he wants to be rich because Jimmy, who was his rich friend, and his friends went to their new beach house on their summer vacations in the Cadillac, and they didn't took Mike and me because we were poor kids. So they were regarded as poor kids, as you know, because their fathers were actually getting a very high paying job but were not actually very rich. And on the other hand, the people who were going to the Cadillac and going to the beach house were very rich, so they were regarded as the rich. And by some twist of fate, Roberts mentioned in his books that he also went to the same school in which the rich people sent their kids. So after that, Robert and Mike both were very sad because they didn't find a way to get rich, and because the answer was lame. The father said, if you want to be rich, then you need to know how to make money. And making money was a completely new term for Robert and Mike also, but they had to figure it out in order to be rich, because they actually wanted to be rich. And after that, what happened is that they thought of numerous ways of making money. So after that, they came across an idea of starting a business. And the problem was, what business should they start? And after this, the Mike, who was Robert's friend, came across an idea through his science book that they collected a lot of toothpaste tubes. So in the back those times, according to the book, the toothpaste tubes weren't of plastic. They were made of lead. So the toothpaste tubes were collected from the neighborhood houses, and this caused a whole chunk of toothpaste tubes to get collected in Robert's home. Actually, the tubes were getting collected at Robert's home. So Robert's mom was very angry at this because the tube were just got accumulated in their storeroom near the washing machine, and he stomped her foot down one day and said that, "Please stop this right now." And Robert, by great difficulty, asked for one more week's time, and to which his mother agreed. And after collecting a lot of tubes, actually they made excuses that to the neighbors that the dentist had asked them to brush the teeth twice in a day in order to keep their teeth healthy, and that's why they collected a lot of tubes. And after collecting a lot of tubes, one day a business started. A partnership is formed between Mike and Robert. So one day when they opened up a stall of actually a business, and what businesses we find further. And after that, when Robert's father, who was the poor dad, came across them, because the business stuff, all that was near a car driveway, so the driveway was just blocked by the stall. So the poor dad had to stop. He also had a friend along with him. Poor dad had also a friend along with him. So they parked the car in the road. They have to put the car at the side of the road, and then they walked down towards Robert and Mike. So when they walked towards Robert and Mike, they saw that the two boys were covered in dust. The whole place looked like as if it was hit by the snowstorm. So the business was that they had some milk cartons and they had some molten lead in it. So there was pot, they were boiling they were boiling lead in it. So the lead was getting molten. So when the lead was molten, they transferred it to the milk cartons, and then there was a plaster of Paris box, and after that they put the molten lead into the plaster of Paris box by through the milk cartons. So when the molten lead went into the plaster of Paris mold, it got accumulated there and got stiffened there. So after Robert tapped on that, and a little nickel fell out. So and after that, the poor dad claimed, "Oh no, you guys are casting nickel out of lead." Robert said, and well, yes. Anything wrong about it? Is it illegal? Mike and Robert asked in unison. So the poor dad said, "Yes, it is illegal." And the both boys were abashed because the business had just started. They had just started the business on this day. Was suddenly over. This was very disappointing for both of them. And the poor dad's friend, who had taken along with him, burst into laughter. So they both were abashed, and the poor dad said that the business is illegal. And then, but he spoke an encouraging word that most people just talk about being rich and do nothing at it, do nothing to actually become rich. But you two guys have done actually something to be rich. But I'm proud of you. And Robert and Mike thought that these words were actually encouraging, but they didn't know good to them because the business was over. And then poor dad gave both of them a piece of advice. He said that, "Hey Mike, your dad is building an empire. I can see that. He's a really great business person, actually." Now Mike was really surprised at this. My dad, he said, but I am a poor kid. How can my dad know how to be a rich person?" The poor dad said, "Don't worry. Your dad is not yet rich, but he will be soon. He soon will be very rich in the whole country of this Hawaii. And go to him, ask for help, and he will help you how to become rich. He will teach you how to become rich." And after Robert had also heard this message, Mike called him on one day and said that the rich dad, so-called rich dad of Robert, wanted to meet him. And Robert took the bus and went to the rich dad, and the rich dad had a lot of workers around him, and because he was a business person, he held a lot of meetings with them and had a lot of people to work for. A lot of people for him to work. So he had a lot of convenience stores, he had restaurants, and he came back home very late in the evening. So it was actually the restaurants that kept him late in the evening. So after coming back, Rich Dad said, "I will teach you guys, but on one term. You have to work in my convenience stores in order to learn." So to this, Mike and Robert agreed, and they were ready to work with Rich Dad in the they were ready to work in the convenience store with Mrs. Martin, who was actually a worker in Rich Dad's convenience store. Now the issue was that Robert was only paid 10 cents an hour for working 3 hours. So that is, he worked only on Sunday mornings, and he got paid only about 30 cents. That was not much. So 10 cents an hour was not much, because most children, it was even less for children, because with them a child cannot buy even a comic book. So he got only paid 10 cents for 3 hours actually. And Robert was actually very sad and got bored of work. And Mike, who was friend of Robert, said that the rich dad conveyed the message that rich dad knew that this would happen. Robert was shocked. How did he know? And he had a question in mind. How did he knew that this would happen? And rich dad said, I want to meet you. And after Robert met rich dad, he was asked to sit outside the office in a dusty, old, cramped, and dark compartment room. And it was so dusty that it's so old that today it would have been a collector's item, according to Robert in the book. So he's saying that sarcastically because the whole home was so old. And after he went into the office, he saw that Rich Dad was sitting there, and Rich Dad asked Robert to sit down. As Robert sat down, he began accusing Rich Dad of being greedy and violating the children right to whatever that is, and for not respecting Robert and Mike. And he also said that you are very greedy and do not take care of your employees. So Richard says, wow, you sound like most of my employees now. And Robert was like, what? But I am here to accuse you, and you are not paying me high enough. So why are you sitting like so? Why are you so happy? I'm not very happy with you. You are very greedy. So he was accusing him like that. But then the rich dad said that life doesn't teach you in words. The life teaches you by pushing you around. So the more you are being pushed around, you have the message that you can learn something, and it is an opportunity to learn something. That's what it means when life is pushing you around. So most people think that that it's other problems, because it's the other people are very faulty because it's their brain, and actually their attitude is the problem. No, and the other people aren't faulty, but they are faulty, and the attitude is the problem. And the attitude of complaining is the whole root cause of the problem. So one day, while Mike, Robert, and Rich Dad was hanging around, and then they sat near a shop, and then Rich Dad also further explained that the money wouldn't solve the problem. Just being rich wouldn't solve the problem. People's lives are controlled by two emotions, fear and greed. Now these two emotions are what the rich called the rat race. So in the rat race, what happens? That you fear that when you don't have the money, you fear that you will not have money for your whole life. That's a fear. And actually, when you get paid, when your hands get filled with some salary, then you would say that like your greed will take over, and you will buy more things than your budget. So that's the greed. These two are the main things that poor people have in their lives, and they are basically trapped in rat race. Also, the rich didn't pay taxes. The poor and the middle class did. The rich dad also explained this to the boys, and he also mentions that Robert and Mike had also already taken a lot of things, and for the small brains, of course they were only 9 then. And then he also said that they worked for free. So actually the Robert and Mike worked for free after that, because he taught them that the rich don't work for money. So the rich dad said that they have to use their minds in order to work for free, because most people don't work for free. And if they use their minds, if they think logically, then they will be able to work. And because the poor people are actually the most people work and react, because they don't think, they react. And the emotion they don't use emotions for thinking. They use, actually emotions are taking over them and making them think. But the intelligent people are those, the rich people are those which have control over their emotions. One more thing Rich Dad offered to Robert and Mike was that he tested them. So he gave an offer. He will pay them 25 cents an hour. Now this was very big amount compared to the previous one, Robert thought. Then he said, okay, $1. And Robert was surprised. Okay, $1 is a lot. And then he said $2, and Robert stayed silent. $5, he said. Then Robert sensed something. He said, oh, I'm being purchased. No, I will not let this happen. So which they said it was good they didn't have a price, because most people have a part of soul that was needy and can be purchased. But if you don't have that part of soul, you are very good. And that makes you really great. And then he also mentions that school is very important, but it's the beginning, not the end. For as most people think that school is the end of everything, and if you fail in school, you have failed in life. But that's not the case in real life, in reality. So that's what also Rich Dad mentions. And the final thing that I liked the most, I love the most, was that keep your eyes open for an opportunity to make money. And the boys did this because they look at the discarded comic books one day and put up a library, whole library, comic book library, to so that children could come and read. So they employed Mike's little sister as their librarian, and she stayed there, and she also had an interest in reading comic books and books. And Rich Dad was proud because they were making money while not being physically present at the time, at the place where the work was going on. So if you have to stay in that place where you earn money, it's job, it's not a business. And that's what Rich Dad says. And but unfortunately the business had to be shut down due to some fights in the library. But anyways, Rich Dad was very proud of them and was happy that they had learned their first lesson, and asked them if they were ready to learn more. Robert and Mike said yes. So that's about the whole chapter, first chapter of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And if people like, I will also like to mention some quotes from the first chapter. So let's take a look at them. So here's the book. I have given the description I have given the link for the purchase of this book. And if you are interested in buying this book, you can go to the description and click on the link to buy from Amazon. So let's take a look at the quotes from the first chapter. So the first quote is, "The poor and the middle class work for money. Rich have money work for them." Very correct. And then, "Stop blaming others and thinking that others are the problem. If you think others are the problem, then you have to change others. But if you realize that actually you are the problem, then you can change yourself and think for the better and grow wiser." When it comes to money, most people want to play it safe and feel secure. So passion does not direct them, fear does. Also very correct. And my favorite one, this is, "A job is really a short-term solution to a long-term problem." Very correct, because job is a temporary income, not a wealth. And I also read in a book that job is a temporary income, and you can never generate true wealth from doing a job. And then most people give more money, only get into some more debt. Okay, a little hard to understand for me as well, but okay. And it's just like the picture of a donkey dragging a cart with its owner dangling a carrot just in front of its nose. The donkey's owner may be going where he wants to, but the donkey is chasing an illusion. Tomorrow there will only be another carrot for the donkey. So that's how Rich Dad explains money. So thank you for watching this video. Anyone interested in buying this book and enhance their financial literacy can go to the description and buy a book from there. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something new today. I hope I was understandable, and please like the video if you liked it. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and also press the bell icon in order to get updates for my channel. Thank you so much, and bye bye.